This podcast is sponsored by the online course, Intro to Psychology, with Dr. Bo Bennett, PhD. Uncover the secrets of the human mind and transform your life at introtopsych.com. Start your journey today.
Psychological Motives for Altruism Explained, or Intro to Psychology Insights. Explore the psychological motives behind altruism, from empathy to social exchange theory, in an easy-to-understand discussion on human behavior. Why do people help others? Understanding the psychological motives for altruism. Hey there. So today, I want to talk about something that's always fascinated me. Why do people help others in the first place? You know, doing something nice for someone else without expecting anything back. This idea, which psychologists call altruism, might seem pretty straightforward. People just want to be good, right? But the truth is, there's a lot happening beneath the surface in our minds when we act altruistically. As a psychology professor, I get asked about this a lot, and I think it's a great example to explain some core psychological concepts that often come up in an intro to psychology course. Alright, so first off, altruism is basically when you help someone else, and the main motivation isn't personal gain. For example, picking up trash in a park just because you care about the environment, or helping a stranger with their groceries just because you feel sympathy. But even though it sounds pure on the surface, psychology theories suggest there can be many different motives driving those actions. So what's really going on? 1. Evolutionary psychology and the idea of helping genes. One big explanation comes from evolutionary psychology. The theory is that altruism can actually help our genes survive. Sounds weird, right? But it makes sense if you think about family. Helping your relatives, even at a cost to yourself, can ensure that your shared genes get passed on. This is known as kin selection. So when your aunt helps you, it's partly because genetically she wants to make sure the family line thrives. Then there's the idea of reciprocal altruism, which is kind of like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Helping strangers isn't just random generosity, it's an investment in social relationships. If I help you today, chances are you might help me in the future, which ultimately benefits both of us. This is a key concept you'll often encounter in Psychology 101, especially when discussing social behavior. 2. The social exchange theory, it's not all selfless. Another important psychological theory related to altruism is the social exchange theory. This theory suggests that people basically do a cost-benefit analysis before helping. So even though it looks like pure kindness, individuals might be motivated by the reward they expect to get, like feeling good about themselves, gaining social approval, or avoiding guilt. For example, when you donate to charity, you might genuinely want to help, but you might also feel a sense of pride or satisfaction afterward. Some psychologists call this the warm glow effect. So altruism from this angle isn't completely selfless, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. Understanding this helps explain why people often help, even when it involves some sacrifice. 3. Empathy as a trigger for altruism. Empathy is another powerful psychological motive for altruism. When you truly understand and share someone else's feelings, you're more likely to help. This is called the empathy-altruism hypothesis. It proposes that when you feel empathy for someone, your motivation to help is deep and genuinely other-focused, not tied to any personal gain. Think about it. When you see a friend crying, you probably want to comfort them, not because it benefits you, but because you feel their pain. Psychologists have conducted experiments to support this, showing that people are more willing to help when they feel empathy, even if no reward is involved. This highlights an essential psychological concept that many students first learn in an intro to psychology class. 4. Cultural and social norms we learn to be altruistic. Psychological motives for altruism aren't just biological or internal, they're shaped by the culture and society around us. Social norms and upbringing play a huge role. Normative influence means that we often help others because it's expected or seen as the right thing to do in our community. For example, many religions and cultural traditions emphasize helping others and compassion. These teachings become part of our belief system, encouraging altruistic behavior over time. We also learn through role models, parents, teachers, peers, who show that kindness is valued, which is why you might have noticed kids learning and copying these behaviors early on. 5. psychological rewards and identity. Finally, psychologists have found that altruism can be linked to how people see themselves. Helping others can reinforce a positive self-identity. I am a good person, or I'm someone who makes a difference. These internal rewards can motivate altruistic acts pretty strongly. This overlaps with the idea of self-determination theory, which says that fulfilling psychological needs like autonomy, competence, and relatedness drives motivation. When people help others, they often feel connected or useful, feeling those needs are met. Wrapping up why understanding altruism matters. So, what's the takeaway? Altruism isn't just about being nice. It's a complex mixture of biological drives, emotional experiences, social expectations, and personal identity. Understanding these different motives gives us a better picture of human behavior, which is pretty much the whole point of psychology, right? If you're curious about learning more about psychological theories and topics like this, there's a great resource I recommend, the Intro to Psychology course by Dr. Bo Bennett on the Viversity.com platform. It's an excellent place for anyone interested in psychology education, whether you're a student or just someone who loves understanding people. Enroll now to understand human behavior from the ground up, explore fascinating psychology topics, and see how these psychological concepts play out in everyday life. You'll get great insights, clear explanations, and practical examples that bring the theories to life. That's all for now. Thanks for hanging out and thinking about what really drives people to help others. Remember, every act of kindness, no matter the motive, contributes to a better world.